The roadside memorial had my license plate attached to it. Beneath the plate was that night's date, and in the dirt behind the cross were fresh tire marks leading into the trees. This is the last broadcast files. My name is Eric Sloan. For 2 years, I worked as an overnight medical courier, transporting temperature-sensitive medication between hospitals, pharmacies, and distribution centers. The job was mostly driving. You signed for a sealed case, checked the temperature display, and followed the route dispatch sent to your tablet. You did not stop unless there was an emergency. You did not tell anyone what you were carrying, and you never changed the assigned route without authorization. That night, I left the North Valley Distribution Center just after midnight. A refrigerated case was locked inside the metal cage behind my seat. The manifest identified the shipment only as specialty medication. No drug names, no patient information. Drivers were not shown the exact value, but the red handling code meant it was expensive enough that dispatch required a location update every 15 minutes. My destination was a hospital on the other side of Kessler Pass. There were 2 highways across the mountain. Dispatch assigned the northern route, a narrow road with no towns or occupied buildings for nearly 40 miles. I had driven it several times before. At 12:41, my headlights caught something white beside the road. At first, I thought it was an old memorial cross. Mountain highways had plenty of them. Then I noticed the flowers. They were fresh. Clear plastic still covered the stems, and the pale wood looked newly cut. I slowed down. A license plate had been bolted across the center of the cross. My plate read 7KJ418. So did the plate on the memorial. Below it, someone had written the date in thick black marker, October 18. That was the date on my dashboard. I drove another 100 feet before pulling onto the shoulder. I knew I was not supposed to stop. I also knew dispatch would ask for proof. I left the engine running, locked the doors, and walked back with my phone. The closer I got, the less it looked like a real memorial. The flowers had no cards or ribbons. Sawdust still clung to the bottom of the cross. The dirt around it had been disturbed recently. I took one photograph, then another. While checking the second one, I heard gravel move behind me. It did not come from the highway. It came from the direction of my van. I turned too quickly and nearly dropped my phone. The headlights lit the shoulder, but everything beyond the guardrail was black. I could not see anyone. When I reached the van, something was lying behind the left rear tire. It was a narrow metal strip with several short screws driven through it at different angles. If I had reversed, the tire would have rolled directly over them. I kicked the strip away and looked toward the trees. Fresh tire marks crossed the shoulder and disappeared between them. There was no vehicle in sight. I got inside, locked the doors, and called dispatch. Tara answered. I told her about the memorial, the copied plate, and the date. For several seconds, she said nothing. Then she asked whether I had told anyone which route I was taking. I had not. She checked the system. My route had been created 23 minutes before I left the distribution center. Only Tara, the loading supervisor, and my driver account should have been able to view it. She told me to keep moving while she contacted county dispatch. Before I could pull away, amber lights appeared in my mirror. A white highway maintenance truck came around the bend and stopped behind me. It had reflective stripes on the doors, a yellow light bar, and a folded road closed sign mounted over the cab. For a moment, I was relieved. A man in a reflective jacket approached my window, but remained outside the light from my mirror. He tapped the glass. "Mr. Sloan, you can't continue north. There's been a slide near marker 86. He knew my name. I kept the window closed. "How do you know who I am?" He pointed toward the courier logo on the van. "Your company called us." Tara was still on my phone. She said quietly, "We did not call anyone." The man pointed toward the maintenance truck. "We'll take you around it. Service road rejoins the highway in 6 miles." I asked for his unit number. He looked back at the truck before answering. 24. The number was not printed anywhere on the vehicle. There was no barricade behind him, no warning sign farther up the highway, no equipment noise from the pass. The man returned to his truck and pulled ahead. I should have driven away in the opposite direction immediately. Instead, I followed him. A marked maintenance truck felt safer than remaining beside a memorial someone had built for me. The truck led me north for less than a mile before turning toward an unmarked gravel road. A portable detour arrow had been placed at the entrance. Tara told me County Dispatch had no reported closure anywhere on Kessler Pass. I stopped before the turn. The maintenance truck stopped ahead of me. Its driver's side door opened. At the same moment, headlights appeared behind my van. A dark SUV pulled onto the highway from the trees near the memorial. It stopped in my lane. The maintenance driver stepped onto the road and waved me toward the gravel detour. The SUV flashed its high beams twice. I finally understood the purpose of the cross. It was not supposed to predict my death. It was supposed to make me stop. While I photographed it, someone placed the metal strip behind my tire. If the tire went flat, the maintenance truck would appear before real help could reach me. The second vehicle would block the road. They had built the entire scene around one driver. Tara told me state police were coming, but they were still at least 20 minutes away. The maintenance driver began walking toward my van. I accelerated past him. He jumped away from the road as I continued north on the supposedly closed highway. There was no landslide, no cones, no damaged pavement, no workers. The maintenance truck followed. The SUV stayed behind it. My route tablet repeatedly told me to turn around. I shut off the navigation voice and searched the map for somewhere occupied. A commercial way station was 14 miles ahead. Overnight couriers normally bypassed it, but its status light showed open. My hands were shaking badly enough that I entered the station number incorrectly the first time. When someone finally answered, I gave them my name, van number, and location. "Do not stop at the entrance," the woman said. "Drive directly onto the scale. Officers are inside." The maintenance truck moved into the opposite lane and pulled beside me. Its passenger window lowered. I could not see the person inside. Something struck the side of my van and folded the mirror inward. The truck accelerated and began moving in front of me. I braked, dropped behind it, and turned onto the way station approach. The SUV followed for another 100 yards. Then the station floodlights came on. Both vehicles continued past the entrance. 3 transport officers met me on the scale. One officer inspected the van while another removed the memory card from my dashcam. The recording showed what I had missed at the memorial. While I stood beside the cross taking photographs, a man emerged from the trees. He wore the same kind of reflective jacket as the maintenance driver. He crouched behind my rear tire, placed the metal strip, and tried the handle of the cargo door. Then he looked through the windshield. The screen of my route tablet was reflected in the glass. The reflection showed my destination and the red handling code from the digital manifest. The crew already knew my plate, my shift, and the road I had been assigned. The tablet confirmed that the valuable shipment was actually inside the van. That was why they continued after I discovered the metal strip. The refrigerated case contained injectable oncology medication. Investigators estimated its illegal resale value at more than $200,000. The fake maintenance truck was found the following afternoon inside an abandoned road service shed 7 miles from the detour. Its highway markings were magnetic panels. The light bar and road signs were commercially available. Inside the shed, police found cloned access cards, reflective uniforms, portable signal jammers, and printed schedules from 3 medical delivery companies. They also found 11 unfinished memorial crosses. Each had fresh flowers stored beside it. Each had a different courier's license plate bolted across the front. 9 already had delivery dates written beneath them. The crew had not selected random medical vans. They had been receiving courier identities and vehicle information days in advance. The exact routes arrived later, shortly after dispatch assigned them. Investigators traced the leaked schedules to a temporary dispatch account created under the name of an employee who had left one of the courier companies months earlier. 2 members of the robbery crew were arrested. The person operating the dispatch account was never identified. The final photograph in the evidence file shows the last cross in the row. Its plate belonged to another overnight courier. A date had already been written beneath it. 3 nights after my delivery. At the time police entered the shed, that courier had not yet received her route. 18 minutes later, the compromised dispatch account accessed her new assignment. The account was being used while officers were still searching the building. Someone outside the shed was still preparing the next trap.